All righty. Good morning. Good morning. Hope everybody's staying warm today on this beautiful Saturday morning. I don't care where you are in the United States. Put your dang temperature in there because it's cold in Florida. It's getting crazy. So hopefully everybody's staying warm. I think it's a colder winter. It definitely is in my area. I see even in the Carolinas, you guys are getting pounded. So hopefully everybody's going to stay warm. If you're stuck inside, what better place to connect with me? My name is Rick, and I've been wholesaling 24 years, and I'm one of the co-founders of XLeads with my son Zach. And we come on every Saturday morning um, because we just want to help everybody out we possibly can. Now, I can't help everybody out with their personal tickets. Everybody knows how to do that. I'll share it with you. So do me a favor. Put in the comments, tell me where you're from, make a friend, and post the temperatures. I think maybe other than like Vegas and LA, I just talked to my son. He's still over in LA. Um, and it's nice there. It's crazy. So I get why people go to uh what is it? South SoCal, whatever you guys call it. So that's we have the same thing in Florida. It's just we're not as crazy over there. So whatever. So anyways, so stay warm. This too shall pass. And I like to look at the cold in our weather, kind of like the survival of wholesaling. Because if you think in the moment when you're like, I don't know about you, dude, I was freezing the other day. I'm standing in front of the space heater with a blanket wrapped around me with a hoodie. And I think of my wife, I go, I don't know how people live. Why would anybody choose to live like this? And I only get about 4 days of this. And I got friends in Ohio, Maine, and Boston. I'm just like, they're like, come and visit. I'm like, I go, dude, you come down here and then we'll swap it up in the summertime. So it was pretty cool. So, anyways, we come on here and just talk about X leads. I try to make this as entertaining as possible because it's not super exciting going like through software, but like you guys need the software to get to where you're going to go. So today we're going to talk all about just comps. Simple, simple. Now, before I get into comps, I just want everybody to know I do not spend and study comps like it's your job, because I found out the more time you spend comping, the more likely you are to overpay for the property. Now, that being said, you still have to comp. So it's like a weird relationship. Like you need it, but like don't use it as a crutch. Does everybody make sense with that? So I always do comping after I qualify people. And this is the most critical thing I want to share with you today is if you try to comp every lead and you go, well, why would I do that? The reason why people try to comp every lead is because you want certainty. And I'm just going to tell you, when you come into wholesaling, you are not going to get certainty. You have to take action over action. You have to talk to people. You have to find people that want to work with you that need to sell. And then once you get through that qualification, then you comp. But I'm going to be honest with you, most of you do it in the opposite order. You comp first. So I'm going to go through a basic tutorial of comps, and I'm going to make it super simple because if you geek out on this stuff, go get your realtor's license, because I don't care how long you study the comp, it's not going to make it a better wholesale deal. And I found this correlation out, and I found that one of my favorite things is when I started out in wholesaling back in 2003, it was really hard to get a comp. So we had to buy stuff at like the best discount possible. And then I would go over to my realtor's office and, hey, can you help me run some comps? I'd have to sit there an hour or wait for it to get back to me in a day or two. And honestly, it used to piss me off. And I look back, it made me such a better wholesaler, because if you're brand new to wholesaling and you get in here and you have to look at all this data, it's overwhelming. And I'm here to tell you, in wholesaling, comping, it is important, but it is the least priority skill set in the beginning. Because if you buy the property at a deep enough discount, you just need to come up with an average comp. And if you're trying to get that last 10% of the comp, I promise you, listen to me, look at the camera. I promise you, you are overpaying for it. So if you understand that today, please don't comp every lead you have. So whenever we get a prospect, suspect, prospect, whatever, however you were trained on it, you get your list, you pull your government list, however you do the high equity inside of XLeads. Don't sit there and comp them. And then I only comp after I have a very positive conversation with the seller and I've gone through MCTP and I know they need to sell. And honestly, if you do that, you don't have to spend a lot of energy comping. And then I'm going to be honest with you, we go in here and do the comp. So what I'd like to do is and guys, just so you know, the comping, almost every service provider uses the same thing. The advantage that XLeads has over it is that we can help you out with non-disclosure states. And that is huge because that's what I need to do. Okay, I see your questions. Put them in there and we'll get going. So I'm going to give you a brief review on how I prioritize a comp, but like I have to stress to you, I don't comp until I get a valid lead, meaning they came off whatever list I get. I've talked to them. They've indicated interest in selling. I've identified they need to sell the property, and I'm very comfortable with the MCTP conversation. I went with them. Then I'll go look at comp. But even then, I'm going to show you how simple I do it. And then when I go to write the final contract, I probably double check it just one more time to see if anything changed. That's it. Because if you say I had 50 leads, you had a list of 10,000, say you had 50 leads. If you sit there and comp every lead for like 20, 30 minutes, you are going to waste so much time. And I'm going to be honest with you, most of them aren't even going to work out. So I purposely, with my entire staff, when we do acquisitions and everything, I disable any of their ability to comp until they meet the criteria from the seller. Because let's see, 30 times 50. If I were to comp each one of those, that would be 25 hours a week. And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of you guys do. I see this comp, I want to do that. So I don't want you to do that. So why don't we do this? Somebody give me a property that actually you can learn a lot of comps from your failed deals. And sometimes I'll go back and reevaluate the comp, what we offered them. The customer turned it down. They said, hey, another wholesaler offered me whatever, 30, 40K more. I'm like, hey, when I was younger, I used to write those on a whiteboard and then I would follow up with them over 6 or 12 months. Not because I was a stalker upset about it. I just wanted to learn if I made the right decision. And I will tell you, it shot my confidence through the roof because the ones I turned down, they wound up going on the market 3 or 6 months. That contract failed. Either the seller called me back, or if you have a great follow-up system like XLeads, I could go back and I had a shot at those deals. And then and by the way, when a seller turns down your offer and says, hey, I took a higher offer with so-and-so, if you know your market, especially if you do this local, virtual is a little bit different. I just kind of smile. I go, you know what? Here's what I say. I go, you deserve that money. I don't fight them. God bless you. If you can get it, take it. I don't believe it's accurate, but it's your right. I'm here if it doesn't work out. And here's the caveat I put on every one of them, especially when I get outbidded. Make sure they stick to that price because you know there's going to have to be a price reduction. And if there's no price reduction, and guess what? That wholesaler, whatever it is, cash buyer, winds up being a liar. They break all credibility and trust. And keep in mind, you told them the truth, even though you got rejected. You're playing the long game. They're playing the short game. Why? Because they wanted to get an instant yes. I already know you're going to outbid me 40, 50 grand. I will have it. Take care of her. And I tell him, I go, make sure he gives you all $285,000 because I can't pay more than $235,000. And we've already talked about it. Why? But if you can get that, awesome. Just fabulous. If it doesn't work out, I'm here for you. I don't think it's right, but I'm happy for you. And if you approach those like that, it's much easier. But what a lot of you guys do is you go, let me see if I can find a higher comp. Oh, I found something for $295. You overpay for it and you are like in big, big trouble. So if you have a question, put it in the comment box. I'll do the best I can to do it. And if you're new to this channel, if you go, hey, what the heck are they talking about? Number one, go over to freewholesaling.com. This is where we teach you how to do wholesaling from start to finish. If you've never had done a deal, you have zero experience, it's perfect. It's very complimentary to XLeads. In fact, we do a lot of our XLeads training, and you can do it there. Number two, if you want to figure out what XLeads is all about, just go to xleads.com. Very, very simple, straightforward. And you can look at the 3 different packages we offer on there. Remember, XLeads is an all-in-one wholesaling software. And the third thing is, if you subscribe to this channel and you search, because we go on every Saturday, we've been doing this like a year and a half now. And it's not that I don't have anything better to do Saturday. I'm just committed. And if I'm going to teach how to be a disciplined wholesaler, I have to show up. And keep in mind, I run wholesaling operations. We obviously do social media, so I'm connecting with you, and do XLeads. And we have a ginormous JV operation. So I love wholesaling. Anyone who tells you otherwise, but click the subscribe here. And then if you have a topic that you want to research, go through and you can use the search bar inside of YouTube. Keep in mind, we have to keep it simple on YouTube because any private information, they wipe the video out. So I'm going to do my best today not to do it. So that being said, let's get into it. So I want someone to do me a favor. We can either do, if you guys want to do a failed comp, but remember, you put the address up there, it's going to be on the internet. So why don't we do this? Why don't we pick a market where I haven't been? And I've been in pretty much most of them, but let's pick a market. And if somebody would give me a specific, if you want to go granular with a zip code, please don't send me on a wild goose chase, or maybe even like a city. We're not going to do Houston. Hawaii is just a different game, Justin. I don't have a problem with it, but it's hard for me to train the masses because, Hawaii is such a beautiful place. It's highly desirable. And I don't understand the politics in Hawaii. I think Hawaii is amazing. I've never been there, and I definitely want to go, but I know it ain't cheap on real estate there. Alaska, that's kind of outside. Okay, I've done Macon, Georgia. Anybody else have any others? And we'll just jump into this. Let's see. Okay, well, Patrick. So Patrick, I want to try something. I learned a new feature on this. So Patrick, you put an address up there. I got to be careful. I can run it behind the scenes. Patrick, can you let me know it's a dead deal? Because people are going to be calling this, everyone's going to think it's a lead, and they're going to like blow it up. So this is the problem we have on the internet on specific addresses. So Patrick, if you tell me you're done with the deal and you're okay if somebody else calls them and makes $100 grand on it, I just want your permission, because I get blamed for like throwing out people's leads, and that's not my job. So Patrick, let me know, give me permission. I'll come back to it. I've done Memphis, I'm not doing Detroit. So guys, here's the problem. And Detroit's great. Detroit is literally street by street. So even XLeads will help you with Detroit, but if you have a property there, you either have to be local or in my opinion, work with a local wholesaler. Can we use, let's see here. Okay, let's try Athens, Texas, because it is a non-disclosure state, and I think that will help everybody out with that. So let's do this. Let me add the screen. Share screen. I can't believe how we're supposed to have like 20s here. And part of my job today is to go out and round up iguanas, because we have an iguana problem, because we're out here by the coast, and they burrow into the seawalls. And this is the only time of year where you can pick up probably 200 iguanas without them biting you, slashing at their tail. Anybody wants to come to South Florida, because when it gets cold, they go catatonic. And some of these things get 20, 30 pounds. So you people have pets around the United States with iguanas, come to Florida. I'll give them all for free. You can get thousands of iguanas anytime you want. They're a very evasive species, and we need to stop it. Okay, let's get going. So Jonathan, in some areas, like down in Miami and stuff, they pay per pound. That's how problematic they are. So the further south you get, the worse the problem is. But um, I digress. So okay, I am on the dashboard here. So if you want to do a comp, number one, first go to leads. So what I want to do is I am going to let's put up some basics here. So what's the first thing? So guys, put at me. What is the first and most important thing when you run a comp? What is your priority number one? Put it up on the screen. I'll put mine up here in a sec. Is you have to have an order. So there is basically 5 categories. I didn't have time to put them in the thing, so I'm going to type it as I go. So you have to understand, how do I do a comp when I do it? So once you've gone through the qualifying period, once you know you have a seller that's motivated that needs to sell, now we go to comp. Why? Because we need to be very sure what we're going to offer the contract. Now, the simplest way, if you guys are overthinking it, if I go out and get my first deal and say, I found somebody in foreclosure, I found somebody in probate, I found somebody at the bar that's like, she says she's got to get rid of this house. It's simple. Like, okay, you have it listed for 300. I know that didn't work. She probably dropped it down. I'm just going to go in with a really low offer. And that's what we do. And then why? Because I don't want to waste my time. And if we do that, you can fix anything in real estate. If you try to do it the other way, you're going to do this MAO thing, which is maximal allowable offer. It's going to mess with your mind. So she's trying to sell it retail 300 with a realtor. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. I'm probably going to be sub 200. Why? I just want to see if she's motivated to sell. I want to test them. I want to look at the reaction. So if you get past that and she goes, I mean, I don't know if I can go that low, but can you do like 240, 250? Okay, let's go take a look and see if then I maybe just take a quick glance and I go in there. So the first thing we have to do, let me put it up here, is if I'm going to do it, I mean, this is brutally obvious stuff. Apples to apples. And what do I mean by that? By the way, my mind slipped me. And I think it was Athens, right? We said Athens. See, the problem with a gator hunt is you have to have like permits, licenses, and it's like, it's ridiculous. It's very expensive to hunt a gator. Even though they eat people like there's no tomorrow. Okay, we said Athens. Was Athens, Texas, I believe. Guys, don't get me. Don't spin Rick on a cold Saturday morning. Okay, Athens, Texas. Let's go. Let me jump in here. So what do I mean by apples to apples? Anybody understand what I mean by apples to apples? Let me get this off the screen because it's going to block your view. And so we go into apples. So let's just say we're going into, and we're going to pick a random property here. I mean, Athens, Texas. There it is. So say you're pulling your list and the whole thing, and let's just randomly pick a property. I like to pick properties with like no pictures. They're my favorite because they're less likely. So by the way, the pictures in XLeads scans on any time previously they lifted on the open market, which covers almost every property. Geez, $12,568. That's a little bit low for me. Now, we can go in here and let's just say, let's pick this property right here. Bingo. So I'm just doing comps. This is what I'm showing. So here's the first thing I do is I look at it. It's got a -3. I ain't gonna even probably waste my time on that. But let's just assume this is a lead you got. Kind of looks like a typical property. God, I need to move to Texas because you can't even find properties for this price range in Florida. And we go in here. And so the next thing I do is I can click comp. So we had an estimate, I believe it's 196.5. And then it gives a wholesale score of 127. Now, what does that mean? When I have my conversation and qualifying them, if I can't even get slightly below 196, I'm not going to comp the property. Why? I'm going to focus my effort on marketing on people that need to sell. That is the highest skill set you do as a wholesaler. If you spend a lot of time comping, you are basically acting as if you were a realtor. And the more you comp, the more you're going to act as a realtor. And if you act as a realtor, you will be broke in wholesaling. I'm I'm just I am it's not that I'm against people getting a real estate license. It's just you start focusing on the wrong task. And if you want to be a realtor, God bless you, go do it. But I would go all in. My only exception is if you're a realtor, you decided you want to do that dog and pony show and you keep your license, you do wholesaling, I'm okay with that. But when you become a dedicated wholesaler and you let somebody on the internet convince you you have to get your license, unless it is a state statute, I don't know why you do it because you're going to wind up getting stuck. So if we go under this, we can go in here and just click comp. So we know the retail is about 196. How do we come up with that number? Now, remember, that's just using AI, automating all the information. And there's not a ton of comps on here, but I just want you to look on here. This gives you a proximity thing. Yes, we're in dark mode. You can switch over to white mode. Zach already showed you guys how to do that. And so the red ones are basically going to indicate your sold properties. When you have a yellow, which we'll do another one, it is a pending property. And when you have a green one, it is an active listing. So I already told you the first thing is we got to find likeness. So XLeads is actually very good at finding you likes this. This will first start with proximity. But I want you to look up here, guys. This is your filters. And these are different than your list finding filters. And some of you guys mix the two up. Now, most people have a separate software to do this stuff. It's all inside of XLeads here. So you want to go in. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. It's if, let's see, you can choose the number of bass. So I'm going to look at this one. So it's going to give me a summary here. Now, I question the 9 bedrooms, but I see 1844, right? Everybody see that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I don't overly care about beds unless they're like less than, if they're like 1-1s, then you're going to have to match up 1-1s. This is what I mean by apples to apples. The baths, if you are looking at something with 2 baths, I mean, this one has an excessive amount of baths. How you get 8 baths in an 1,800 square foot property, I'm impressed. I think that's ridiculous, but you got to use common sense filter. So the first one, if you look at the address, I'm going to look at the square footage. So it's 1844. So if you click this button here, you can set the range. Now, I think this numbers, you have to set it correctly. So if I'm going to look at it, I want to go like 10% on either one. So I'll just go like this, 1,400. And then I'm going to set the top at, say, oops. Oh, crap. 10 baht. Where to go? Square footage. Well, I switch properties. I like to do it within 10%. So I'll do 2,400 on this one. I know I switched comps, sorry. And then on the low range, if it's that much bigger of a property, I don't want to compare it to like 1,000 square foot homes. So I would do 1,850. So I like 10, some people like 15%, and then that'll change your comps. Now, here's the deal. There's not a lot of comps on this property. Remember, non-disclosure states are a little bit more tricky, and we go through. The beds and the baths are not recognizing correctly, and I've already noticed that. But that's the first thing is you have to do apples to apples. Now, here's the next thing is if you look down here, you got a little slide ruler. The columns are so long, it's like a spreadsheet. And you can look at, so I can look at square footage. If I want to rank them by smallest to biggest, I can just click this. To me, square footage is not the ultimate say, and I'll go over that with you. And then you see this square foot, cost per square foot. It is a good way to sort out your comps. Now, It's going to look at dates. And then, so here's the next biggest thing. When I say like apple to apple, you see these builds. This is a normal range. If I had a house, say it was built in 2015, I am not going to do a comp from 1970. It's not going to work. Now, the comp range is basically from 1970 to 1984. That's 15 years. Those are going to be apples to apples. I'd say once a house gets over like 2003, 4, you're going to have to change the years. And if you want to change the years, you can go under more and click on that. If you want to prioritize them on that, I wouldn't do it with that on years built. But when we have likeness, I'm looking at total square footage under air. And guys, just so you know, some counties get their property records wrong. So you got to use common sense. So in South Florida, sometimes I'll get a 1,100 square foot property and they tell me it has 4 baths. I know it's physically impossible to do that. And it's most likely going to be a chopped up rental property. I already know that going into it. So I like to sell, say I was doing a wholesale, I like to sell properties that are like, okay, this is the norm in the neighborhood. People are going to like it. If I see 4 or 5 bathrooms in a very, very small square footage, either the property record's wrong, which is often the truth, or number 2, they have destroyed the home. And usually the older homes have it. We have a area here in Port St. Lucie that was built in the 60s. It's 95% rentals, and they typically are under 1,000 square feet. And sometimes they'll say it's a 5-bedroom, 1.5 bath. I already know it's a rental. It's never going to sell retail, and I don't mess around with it. So when you learn how to do comps and XLeads, you'll learn the tendencies in your market, and you can figure it out from there. So obviously single family, but this goes on and on. You can rank all this stuff. I'm not going to get deep into the scoring numbers because I'm just doing a comp because it doesn't make sense. Now, the next thing we have to talk about, let me bounce over here, is what is priority number 2? Priority number 2 is always after we have the similar, like apples to apples, is we have to understand what is the next biggest thing. And I'm just going to throw it up here because it's just easier. It's proximity. Hands down, once you have similar properties, it's proximity. And remember, when you comp, it goes from a wide scale, and every additional criteria up to the 5 helps narrow in that number. The first 2 are the most critical, and if you screw those up, your comps are going to be terrible. It's just the truth how it rolls. So let me show you how this works. So everybody understands proximity. No big deal. Let me pull it up here. No. So Jonathan, I picked a random property on purpose because not everything's always going to be perfect when it comes to data. You guys, you get data at your fingertips like there's no tomorrow. So I just look at square footage. You can put 10 rooms, you can put 9 baths. To me, there's only so much you can fit in a property. And then if you want to dig deeper, I would look at the age of the property because that's the key thing on it. So then we go over here on distance. Here's the standard, guys. The tighter you make it, usually the more accurate your compass. And remember, I'm not picking and choosing. So I'm always going to try to stick in a mile and make it a default. And here's people's tendencies is sometimes you have to stretch out. If you have to stretch out the radius of your comp area, be careful, because if you're hunting for a comp to justify what you paid for it, you're going to go on a wild goose chase. So this one is a little bit tighter. So you can go as low as a quarter mile up to a mile. So if I did a half mile, I got like 1 comp. So that's too tight. So right off the bat, if I don't see a lot of comps, I go, okay, am I in the right area? Because am I just not getting data on it? Now, Texas sometimes can be a little more challenging, but how big is it? I know nothing about Athens. If somebody wants to put what the population of, why don't I just look? Athens, Texas. So I suspect it could be a smaller population. And it is. So before I even got into it, you have a population of around 13 13.5. So I already know I'm light on comps. And here's where a lot of wholesalers make mistakes. Like, now, if this is your local market, go for it. But if I was doing this virtual, I would get out of Athens because I don't think I'm gonna have enough buyers. And if I'm a new wholesaler, it means I don't have enough time to assign the contract. Now, I go to 1 mile, boom, we get more comps. Do you see how this can get you in trouble quick, Lo? I go to 1.5 miles. And see, now we have a listed one here. And here's the problem, though. Like, watch, if I go to, say, I'll do extreme 5 miles, there's still not a lot of comps. So I know right off the bat how motivated is the seller and do I have a buyer built in. So I'm going to go back and just do 1.5 miles because I think 2 miles is the most I'd go in this. But then I'm going to check once I go out more, I'm going to scoot over and look at year built to make sure we're still in alignment. And once again, we're still within like that 15, 20. I don't like to go past, unless I'm in an area where it's all rentals and they were built like all at the same time. Usually past 20 years, you're looking, if I compared a 1972 house to a house built in 2015, they're night and day. It's not a comp. You can't do it. And so that's why we do apples to apples and then we do distance. Now, after this, guys, it's simple as if you look down here in the lower left-hand corner, you can build your own comp. So first of all, take the comp XLeads gets you, qualify your seller, and if it warrants a comp, then you can come here. So it's real simple. Here's what scares me is you have the ability to pick your own comps. And if you don't make rules in the market you're at, remember, all real estate is local. So I don't know Athens, Texas. All I know is I have a small population. I don't have a lot of comps. I'm hoping I have a buyer or I have a long window to sell my contract. Because if I have to sell this thing in less than 2 weeks and I have no cash buyers and I'm new, it's probably not going to work out. I'm just telling you the truth. I've done this for 24 years. So say I decide, I go, hey, I go through, I check all the criteria. I've tightened up all the boxes. Like in Florida, if I have a non-pool home, I'm going to make sure I got pools without pools, and I'm going to click on there. But say I just randomly pick these 4. And right here, you see how XLeads came up with 196, but I go, hey, one of those properties, it's overlisted with a realtor. I don't want to do it, even though these are all sold. So I came up with around $90, $93 a square foot, sale price. This is very straightforward stuff. And that's my comp. Now, if you want, you can add the comps. You can put in an entire report. You can put it in your board. I don't do it until like I am like right there. Now you can download it. It'll do beautiful things for you. Guys, please, I will tell you this right now. I'll click the download button and we can pull it up. It will generate a comp report. And this is what like freaks me out. This is the comp report. I think everybody can. Oh, hold on. Now I got to share this. Dang it. So if you click download, let me show you what happens. Hold on. I got to share my screen. There's the problem when. Okay, let me show. I'm just going to show this once. I'm not crazy about it, but. So now I downloaded it. Now you have the ability to put this in your CRM inside of XLeads. You can move it over to your Ninja Mode Go High Level. And it'll go through all the properties I picked. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is for your own use and your own underwriting. I'm going to tell you, showing a comp report to a motivated seller is one of the worst techniques I've ever seen in wholesaling. Why? Because you are acting as if you're a realtor. I share the comps with them number. I might print out a property and just talk to them about it. But going like this and shoving something in front of a motivated seller, it's never, ever worked for me. Because it's very impersonable. It can blow up on you. They can tell you're wrong and stuff. If you do it verbally, you can work around the reactions. If you hand them a report, guess what? They're going to take your comp report. Let's keep going through here. And they're going to ask a realtor to do a comp. The realtor's comp report compared to yours is going to make you look amateurish because they have all these beautiful photos. I get realtor comps because I have realtors sell a lot of my properties, and they'll come in my office and they'll give me like a 32 page, it's beautiful pamphlets. Dude, guys, it's gorgeous with graphs. Come on, guys. Like, this is not going to compete with a realtor. And number two, if you have to use a comp report to try to convince a seller to sell you a property, you're most likely going to get in trouble pretty quick. So let me just check some questions. Let's put it in another market. I had another one in there. And that's it. You save the comp and that's it. But the whole point is, guys, you did not get into wholesaling to be a comp expert. Do you have to understand it? Yes. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of practice. But I find some people spend more time training the comp than they do marketing for wholesale deals from sellers that need to sell. And that, dude, I've seen it, laminated paper. I've seen a realtor come in my office and do one of these pop-ups, put it up on a board. And I can't compete with like a Ryan Searhant. That's not my deal. I'm looking for challenging properties so I can help the seller out. I can make an incredible amount of money. And then I can have a Ryan Searhart bring me a buyer for that property. But we are not the Ryan Searharts. And by the way, I think he's an amazing businessman. He's got guts. He's an incredible marketer. Actually, he reminds me a lot of my son. But I love people like that. So let's do this. Let's do Shelby County. We'll put that one up there. And let's bounce around. So now I'm going to ask before I do it. Wait a minute. We're going to be stuck in Texas all day today, aren't we? That's okay. No, that's Tennessee. I apologize. Tennessee. Okay, let's pull it up. County, Tennessee. Let's see here. I'll pull the screen up. I promise. I know you can't see it because I got to make sure nobody's phone numbers pop up. Now, what I like about Shelby County, it has a population of just under 1 million people. That's a big county. Wow, that's impressive. Everybody's moving to Texas and Florida, but it ain't warm here, so don't come. Trust me on this. So let me go back here and let's do this. Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Sorry. Share. Boom. Boom. Okay. So we're going to do, I think you can see it. Yeah. So we'll do Shelby County. And just type it in the search board. Pretty straightforward. Shelby. We said Tennessee, right? Let's see. There it is on the bottom of the list. Okay. Hopefully you're staying warm there. So guys, once again, when it pops up, you see how this gives me a quick flash of what I have? I already, like without even comping. So if you're doing it virtually and say you're grabbing leads all over the country, like the gentleman showed us before in Athens, Texas, I probably wouldn't do a deal unless it like the deal's crazy or I'm taking full control and interest because I'm going to probably struggle getting a buyer because I'm not established in that market. Now I will reach out to a JV wholesaler and get their thoughts on it. But like, look at these numbers on this one, man. It's like really cool. Do the overlay. We'll do the insights on it. I like to kind of look at it, and this also gives you a great comparison if you're going to do virtual wholesaling because you can do a comparison on the market. So let's just randomly pick a property here. Not a cheap county, I can tell type of deal. Let's look at, we got an absentee owner here. Perfect. We'll do this one. But this is not one of my deals. This is just a random property. Please don't look in this. If you're watching this live or recorded, it's no big deal. So right off the bat, 237. I'm talking to the seller. I'm qualifying, make sure they're motivated and they need to sell. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to make an offer probably in the 150, 160 just to see what their thoughts are after I earn their trust and I establish the rapport. And then I'm going to gauge if they want to move forward. All I'm looking for, guys, is interest from the seller. If there's no interest and I have to chase them, I don't waste my time. Everybody understand that? Then I go here because Some of you guys like to comp. So this looks like a vacant home. It's actually a good one. So let's click comps. So we said the numbers before. Now, so do you see how much more information's popped up here? Let's fix the distance. And so there's so many here, I might cut it down to a half a mile. Because yeah, you still have more comps. Now, the one thing I'm noticing right off the bat. So someone put in the comments, what do you notice before you dig into any of this stuff? Like, what is going on here? Because if you look at this correctly, this tells me something right off the bat. It automatically concerns me as a wholesaler. So if you look at the insights of comping, guys, put in the comments, before we deep dive and get an accurate comp, what is your assessment of this property? Good population? It's actually looks like a good type of property I would pursue in wholesaling. But like what's going on here that tells me, uh-oh, I might have a problem here. Bingo. Rob's got it. It's not a small town, it's huge. There's a lot of actives, which means there's more sellers than buyers. And I'm telling you right now, I'm looking on this thing and there's going to be a lot of competition. And so real estate is always a supply and demand thing. If I look in here, I mean, look at this, guys. So this gives you a nice visual right here. And so this is your property. And you notice a lot of greens. And greens are listings. And guys, keep in mind, a listing, it don't mean crap to me. Now, I want you to understand what XLeads also does. For those who don't understand, because I believe Tennessee is a non-disclosure state as well too. It uses public records and it uses all the different MLS services. So you got Memphis Association of Realtors, you have Middle Tennessee, RealTrax. And so it's using 3 different sources to pull the data. Not every company is going to do that for you. It's not easy to get this data and you go from there. Now, I want you to look at this. This is the crazy part. Let's deep dive into the actives right off the bat. Let's see what the heck's going on here. Now, guys, I don't rarely ever do this unless I'm doing a wholesale deal. But if I go under status, which by the way, the third the third one we talk about is going to be the status of the property. As the filters get tighter, you can tighten these up. Your numbers should get more accurate. So if you wanted to do just off the listing status, oh crap. Hold on. Clear all. And let's do listing status active. Check this out. Okay, active. We'll just look at active. Let's see what the heck's going active. And then what I'm going to do is look at the days on market. And I'm seeing some big numbers here, guys. See this 126, 126? Maybe that's a group of investors selling a whole set of homes. It could indicate a hedge fund is dumping properties in there. You're going to have to buy cheap here, guys, because the amount of inventory on there is problematic. And these inventories have been sitting there for 4 months. I'm not going to waste my time deep diving. It could be one company because they have very similar DOMs. So do you see, without getting into the comps, like I can make very, very fast assessments. I'm not crazy about this. And honestly, I got so many actives. I have very little solds. Let me go back here and change the status and we will select our items. Let's just go back to select all. Done. And then here's the solds. So if you want, you can pick the status on the sold. I'll go back and do a little deeper dive and let's clear all and let's just look at sold. And on the sold, let's see what happens here. So if stuff is priced right, it's look at sells probably in 60 days. I'm talking on the realtors listings here. And so I'm going to look at the sold comps a heck of a lot deeper than I'm going to look at the actives. In fact, the actives, I don't even know if I would use it in this one. It's really bad, guys. So if we go back to status once again, there's no pending. There's a lot of active. So if I see a little bit of green, a lot of yellow for pending, and then a lot of closed. I love those markets. I'm talking about like a hotel. But remember, when you're selling to your cash buyers, they're looking at this data. And remember, if there's more activity, you can be a little bit more aggressive on your offer. But like this one, where there's a ton of inventory, for God's sakes, you better make sure you have a motivated seller because it's not going to be super easy to sell this property. Now, how do I sell the property? It's easy, wholesale. Buy low from people who need to sell their house and sell medium. But what most investors do, so you got to understand, is they go on this ridiculous comp search and they try to hunt for comps and they try to buy at medium and they try to sell high. Well, this market tells me right now nothing's selling at high. And these are actually pretty low prices. And just once I do the color code, this is what I kind of like the dark mode. It jumps out. My ADHD, because I go, hey, there's so many listings here. That means I'm going to be on the extreme conservative side on the offer because here's the reality, guys. When this motivated seller, if they go, well, maybe I just list it with a realtor. I go, great. Do you realize there's 15 listings for the similar price in your area that are vacant, ready to go, listed with a realtor? They've been on the market for 4 months. Now, I'm fine for you doing that. But if you said you had to get out of the property in 30 days, do you see I don't stick a comp report in them and I just give them the real raw data because it's the truth. I don't lie to people. I just tell them the truth. And if they want to list it with a realtor and I've made the best pitch I can, I'm going to keep my relationship. I've earned their trust. And I promise you in 3 months, they're calling me because these properties aren't moving. If you look at this. So you can go to square footage. You can set the range, whatever you want on it. So all your numbers are up here. So that's not a bad range. And this one's got four bedrooms, 2 baths. So on this one, they did a minimum of 2 bedrooms. So if you want to get more of an accurate comp, maybe I put 4 bedrooms. So if the bedrooms, 4 is still tight for a 1,500 square foot home, but let's try it anyways. So now I'm just looking at all the ones with the 4 bedroom. And then once again, I'm going to look at proximity. And then with, this is crazy. Like, so what I want to do is take the ones that are closest. So the next thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to look at the year built. Remember I talked to you about, and once again, 1993, you might get, so most of these are 1970s homes. So if I want to get a simple, straightforward comp, and then if like you don't like a comp, you do a thumbs down. I don't like doing this part because I think it creates a lot of cheating on people. But say we use these 4 for the comps. And I want you to understand, don't be so selective that you're handpicking comps to justify your overpriced property. So I come up with 176 a square foot. They do the calculations, 1512, kind of a high number. So let me go over here and look at the sales prices. 204, they range from 204 to 299. So when I see this, I can tell you right now, I'm going on the extreme conservative side. I'm going to take the lowest number, period. And I like to use the sold. So I believe the base price on its best day, unless it's completely renovated, is probably going to be in the low 200s. Why? I'm a wholesaler. I'm selling it to the fix and flip guy. And if we don't understand that, we are absolutely going to get killed. Now, the next one I want to show you is last sale. So this is basically working down to your 4th criteria. This is critical because how long ago did they sell? Now, 6 months. Let's look in the last 1 month, just out of curiosity. Not much. I got one on the top there. Let's see the date. That's back in October. So I already know this is a soft market. It is a buyer's market, and I'm going to have to buy cheap. Now, last sale, the tighter you make this number, the more accurate your comp's going to be. Because remember, you're going in, everything is previous history, and if the market is trending down, What are days on market? And you can kind of, so I will always use this data, especially to track my local markets. And I have some set virtual markets that I've been in over 10 years plus. We know the numbers so well. We know when we get a motivated seller and we can move fast. And then you can stretch it out. The further you go, like I do 1 year, I see a lot more reds, but if I look at the dates on it, watch this. Let me get this out of the way. If I look at the dates, obviously it's going to be longer. This is basically spring and summer of last year. And guys, we're in a different market when we do that. So, guys, these are the main ones I do it. And then the last one we have to talk about, let me take it off the screen here. I always feel like I'm lecturing on this. Once I do all that, I'm going to take consideration of the condition of the property. So guys, I'm kind of making a point to you today. I love XLeads. It's an all-in-one software, but when it comes to comping, I simply pull up the value I see for the AVM on the for some people call it retail, some people call it ARV, after repaired value. I don't give a crap what you call it. Like, I'm so tired of people spinning this. Hey, what's the approximate value of that property right now? Okay, it's 200. Okay, I'm gonna have to buy it much lower than that. So if you're trying to do comps to try to buy it at 170, 180, you're literally wasting your time. And in this example, on this property I just showed you, because there's so much supply, indicates a softening market, you have to be the lowest price property to get a cash buyer to take action, someone like me. So if I see everything listed at 250, 260, and you come in and list it at like 175, all cash, take over my position of my contract, wow, perfect, awesome. I promise you that property will sell. And everyone else is going to and then what happens is you're going to lower the prices in the neighborhood. It's just, but like, I love when people go, well, wholesalers screw up the prices. No, the house has challenges or the seller has challenges. This is a decision that the seller makes. If they're solving a problem and I'm helping them solve their problem, it is an even exchange. And eventually that house winds up in probably a fix and flipper's hands, and they raise the value back up to 250, 260. And what I struggle sometimes with realtors is they always like, Rick, you always screw up the values in our market. I go, I actually increase them. Because let me ask you, how helpful is if that type of property got listed with a realtor, which I didn't even check if it was, when it's listed with that realtor and they put it on the market for 6 months, it screws up their days on market. They have to continually drop the price. And when people like you and me look at it, go, oh crap, this is a buyer's market. Like, I need to even buy at a lower price. The sooner that property gets turned over, meaning the wholesaler takes control of it, sells it to the cash buyer, the fix and flipper, he or she spends 6-9 months rehabbing it, gets it in top shelf. The neighbors are happy, better quality people in the neighborhood. It goes from a personally owned home, maybe it was a rental before, and then the comps go up in the area. So I stand by what we do, and we have to understand when we do it. So let me bounce around. So I want everybody to understand the order. We're going to do apples to apples first. Everybody understand that. If you don't have apples, what are apples to apples? The year built on the property. Everybody understand that? The square footage under air. SQUAR is what I've always learned on it. The problem, if you take some tax appraisers' data, they'll include the garage, the porch. And if you're doing it on a per square foot, I only do comps when I calculate per square foot that's under air. It's got to be under some sort of HVAC system. So hopefully everybody can grasp that, and we go from there. And then basic from that, you can do, we talked about the property types. If I'm doing single family, I want to make sure I do single family. And then I'm going to tighten it in on date of sale. I like 6 months or less. If I got a lot of activity within 90 days, I'm very comfortable. I can aggressively offer on that property. If I see more actives than recently sold, I'm going to go on the conservative side. So if we go back to the property, what would you make an offer? I don't make an offer till the seller shows me signs they need to sell. And in 2026, if you guys will look at your comps like the way I just looked at them, you don't have to deep dive them, but I look at colors. So like, I make quick decisions. I see a lot of green, a little red. Hey, stuff sitting. And let me ask you, do you think the seller knows that there's 12 properties listed in their neighborhood? They do. They do. They do. So if you want to use XLeads, there's a simple way you can do the buyer match in there. You can look at the cash sales when we do it. What's up, guys? And I'm trying to stay warm. It's freezing in the studio, and the front hasn't even come through. This is how thin my blood is in Florida. So um, can't get out on the boat. It's too cold. How do you guys do this for 3 or 4 months up north? I don't know how you do it, but it's good. So people are asking me, hey, where's Zach? As you know, Zach spent the entire day yesterday with Alex Hormozy, and he'll have a lot to share with you. Really, really cool stuff. And there's very few people in the country to get to do that. And because we're the largest wholesaling group in school, guys, make sure you go over there. I'm going to put it on here. I always put it on here. As simple. I'll put it on the bottom. How's that? Run it across the bottom. Freewholesaling.com. We joined school less than a year ago, and we had the largest growth. We've generated the most amount of revenue, and Alex is like, I don't understand how you guys do it. And so Zach, on Alex's dime, flied over there. He spent the day in LA. I think he met up with some of you guys last night, and he's crazy. I don't know what he's doing today. I'm not as big of a jet setter, but he's young. He's my son, and I'm extremely proud of him, and he'll share his story with it. Really cool stuff. So freewholesaling.com. If you want to figure out how to get XLeads, just go over to XLeads.com. And guys, I'm here to tell you what was I going to say on this? Let me pull this off the screen here so I can see everyone's comments. I love XLeads, but remember, I did wholesaling with no software when I started out. XLeads is a tool, and the first and foremost tool it's not your number one comp tool. And I'm going to tell you, there's better comp tools out there. And a lot of you going, hey, Rick, what about Zillow? What about this? Let's be brutally honest. Our sellers look at Zillow, period. They look at Zillow. So let me give you an example. I want to look actually before, because I don't want to put their phone number up there. Hold on, let me copy this address. 7929. I'm not going to do that. So I want you to understand this. Zillow, we all know sellers look at Zillow. And to be fair, I didn't start out with Zillow. I'm not crazy about Zillow. Zillow has its plus and minuses, but everybody knows about his estimate. If you don't think your seller looked at his estimate, you're lying. Sometimes it's accurate. It's gotten better. I'm not going to lie to you. It was wildly off. Zillow doesn't work for, his estimate does not work for land, just so you guys know. And I'm still going to look at this estimate because I believe that's what's in the seller mind. Then I'm going to go in once I have a motivated seller, do a quick comp like that, find out if I'm in a buyer's market, a seller's market, how quickly I think I can sell this property. And then I'm going to gauge all that together and make an offer, because you got to use your brain when you make a wholesale offer. It's not just, I'm going to offer you 50 cents on the dollar. A lot of time, most of the time that won't work at all. So we have to go through and assess all this data. But I'm telling you, comping is, in my opinion, one of the lower priorities in wholesaling. It's always going to be marketing. So when you use your XLeads, please, and if you guys picked it up today or picked it up in the last month, focus on the marketing. And here's the tip I can use for you. I want to put this on the screen. Is make sure, I'm going to go back to the dashboard here. To go through the training, guys. So if you go up right here, training and support, I have an entire staff Monday through Friday. They answer all your questions. We do live Zooms. We help you set up A2Ps. Nobody offers more support than us. And then, so you have all this right here. And then if you have any issues right here, you can click your little box. You have a help center. Yes, we use AI. We sort it out. We do onboarding calls. If you want to link to the course, you can't find it, come on over. Alex Hormozy loves us. We are the largest wholesaling group, period. Nobody, and we're the largest on Facebook. We're the largest in school. You guys, we have over 200,000 plus followers on YouTube. We're here. I've been here 24 years. We are a marathon wholesaler. And I want you to keep in mind that everything's here for you. But most importantly is when you click on the leads, guys, my main thing, and by the way, you can put that and hide that there, is I'm going to go and pull my list. How do I pull my list? I'm going to go over here. If you have no experience, you can go in here and do the quick filters. These are filters me and Zach set up to help you find out the type of properties you want to do. And guys, as I mentioned, like properties, I did single family. Make sure if you don't want to do condos, you remove condos. By the way, if you're doing condos in Florida, run. They are a real problem right now. Our inbox is loaded up with motivated sellers from condos because legislations come out where we had a building collapse for about 5 years ago, and it's wreaked havoc. And the cost to own a condo is we saw 100. I had somebody reach out to me 2 days ago. They're getting $110,000 assessment at a 1 unit, and they have 400 units in the building because the building's gone so downhill. So there's a lot of abuse. I don't know why Florida always seems to be the place. But anyways, you can come in here and you can pick your area, put that. If I wanted to pick pre-foreclosures, which everybody has access to it. And by the way, everybody was always asking me, Rick, how do you do the probates nationally? Click liens here. And you go down here, select your lien type. And if you look up here, deceased probate, that will pull them up for you. Every one of you have access to it. So depending on the type of account you have, you can go over to XLeads.com. You can figure that out. And that's it, guys. So, dude, do me a favor, stay warm. Zach will be back hopefully by tomorrow. I don't know. He says he might stay in LA. I don't know. We'll figure it out. California's a lot warmer in Florida. So, guys, stay warm on this. Guys, listen, comping is secondary to marketing. Marketing will always be number one. And then your ability to qualify sellers that need to sell. If you do that right, comping's easy. If you do comping first, you're going to just drive yourself out of the business and you'll drive yourself nuts. So, yeah, dude, condos are, if you got some funds to hold on, but I did the condo thing back in 2009 and it took 9 years to recover. So it's not for the faint of heart. If you're coming, you're going to go buy 100 condos in Florida. I'm just telling you, a lot of these older buildings, especially in Dade and Broward County, they're going to hit bankruptcy status. And then what's going to happen is builders are going to buy the whole thing, pennies on the dollar, 5-10 cents on the dollar. They're going to knock it down and they're going to bring in like Ryan Searhart and like Fred Eklund, and they're going to sell $10 million condos everywhere. Why? Let's be honest, guys. You got politicians running this stuff. They get a bigger tax base. The game's being played. You just got to be aware of it. There's games played in wholesaling. The only game you need to play is marketing, 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 marketing. Without it, guys, check out XLeads, XLeads.com. It'll give you a head start on everything. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, make sure you subscribe to this channel and use this channel to search if you want to learn how to use AI and follow up. But guys, please just learn one task at a time. Some of you get into XLeads and you get absolutely overwhelmed because we offer more than anybody else does. But remember, everybody else has to a la carte all their stuff. We include it in. So don't cancel your account because you don't understand something. I had somebody the other day, they wanted to cancel in 2 hours because they were frustrated. I go, honestly, you should just probably not even wholesale, because if you're going to give up in 2 days just on a piece of software, I can't imagine what your marketing is going to look like. So we appreciate you guys. I will see you. Zach will be on the live stream tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern on his channel. Go there. He'll have a lot to share with it. And we'll be back on Tuesday as usual. So guys, stay warm. Use XLeads. Remember, find sellers that need to sell. Make sure you're direct to them. And if it's off market, I think you have a much better chance. So guys, have a good one.